Here's Jack.
Live from the Echo, live from the stadium. How nice to be here. Live from the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library. I need more coffee, Jack. In Cedarburg, Wisconsin, it's the Jack Henke Show. 56 minutes of radio delight. I wrote that myself. And 4 minutes of commercials coming to you every week at this time. Jack's guest today is Terry Sweet. That was last week's, no, the week before, so that works out well. And
you going to do something about him?
Maybe.
Holy
we might have
shit,
to.
What's the problem?
And we've had our first inaugural S-bomb from Jack here on radio.
That was Doc.
And we've got a bank manager coming in today named.
If you call him a bank manager, you're really going to be...
Bank owner.
Yeah, I got a teller coming in, going to tell us how he counts to separate the nickels and the dimes.
Mr. Fazio is here today. Now your host and mine here to bail me out before I get in more trouble with bank owners.
I didn't bring in a bucket to bail you out. Jeez.
Hope you don't need a bank loan to get that bail money.
First you start that smooth, seamless transition from the Who Magic Bus to Here's Jack. Here's Jack on the Magic Bus. Here's Jack on the Magic Bus.
I should have remixed. Here's a man who can't get a bank loan even though he knows every bank owner in town. Here's Jack.
That's why.
Yeah, right. If they didn't know me, they'd know me better if I was unanimous.
You keep showing up on their dot matrix printer. They keep that printer in the back with your name. It's churning out pages and
churning.
Pages. Yes.
It's next to the fax machine.
Right.
Old man.
Yes.
Jeff, see how he answered right away? Please explain to the young people out there in digital radio land what churning means.
Well, if you're going to make butter, you better churn.
What's butter? What's that?
Oh, boy. Aren't you Joe Health over there? Yeah. The picture, the photo of health.
That's right. Okay. Yes. So you really got us off to a terrible start.
It was right? Not my, the Marconi Award was sent back about 2 minutes ago.
You can't even pronounce macaroni.
Macaroni Award, absolutely.
So what's going on in your world?
It's been a wild week here at the Cedarburg Public Library.
You say that every week.
Yeah.
It can't be true every week.
No, actually it is. It actually is.
Why?
Oh, people, these here mask thingies?
Yeah.
People are really angry about them.
What did somebody come tell me the best comment you've gotten this week?
Can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't.
Yes, you can. No, you told me the other day. It was classic.
Oh, the one about the R word?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy said that if we demanded we put these on, that it was rape.
It was rape.
Rape. I'm still unpacking that too, Terry. Don't look at me. I just collect the comments. I don't make them.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, what is this world? Did you read this here local paper?
Yep, I did. And 60 seconds later, I went and got a cup of coffee.
Well, see what happens when they get rid of all the good columnists.
Does it help?
Oh,
but did you read this here thing about? This is not what we're all about. The guy in Mequon.
Yeah, he was. Well, let's just say he's not invited to your Rosh Hashanah dinner. I'll tell you that much.
Rosh Hashanah, is that a Rush?
It's coming.
A Rush
Jewish
festival?
New Year. We're so ahead of you, yokels.
See, I'd have I'd have
Who's
Hashanah. I like Who better than Rush.
There you go.
But Terry, listen to this. There's a guy in Mequon who drives into his own house across the street from someone, and he has a young daughter with her, and he goes across the street to his neighbor's house and pulls out a Joe Biden sign and threw it to the ground at 7:30 p.m.
Kind of early for that.
The woman who lived there was watching through the screen door, and he started. Not only did he not act like I shouldn't have done this or even ran or anything like that, he went up to her screen door and started screaming at her.
Really?
This is not a drive-by. This is the guy who lives across the street.
This is a walk-by.
Yeah. He yelled at the woman through the screen door. She told him to get off her property, that she had freedom of speech to put a sign on her lawn. Then he yelled an expletive at her and repeatedly gave her the middle finger at her own house.
Wow.
Through the screen door.
In
Mequon.
Maybe he was in a bad mood.
I'm thinking it wasn't a banner day for him.
Yeah. God. Then it gets better.
There's more.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. The woman's husband went outside to confront the man,
Uh-oh.
No.
The plot thickens.
who allegedly called her husband a dirty Jew and said that Jews caused the riots in Portland. And then he went back to his own garage. He grabbed a large piece of white cloth and painted a sign that said "Jews for Trump."
Wait, this guy's a little confused because at first he says he's dirty.
Wait, even though he has been raised as a Catholic.
As always, we'll take anybody.
Well, the thing is, there's one good thing out of this, and I had never met this person, the mayor of Mequon.
Oh, John Worth.
Yeah,
He's actually a good guy.
well, he sounds reasonable.
He is reasonable.
You know,
So
A
he has
reasonable
no,
politician?
So he has
Yeah.
no place in this world.
Yeah, right.
he took this incident and said it's absolutely wrong, illegal. There have always been hateful people with extreme views and awful behavior, he wrote on his website. Unfortunately, some will always exist. He said that the last few months have been particularly notable for overt incivility and horrible behavior because the number of issues that people have been reacting to in Mequon, Thiensville, whether it's the school, being online, Black Lives Matter protests, and racial unrest nationwide. People picketed the school superintendent's home, his home where his wife and children live. Some used the term Nazis when referring to Trump supporters.
They love that one.
A few of our neighbors gave the finger to a Black Lives Matter protesters and asked to have BLM signs banned. Kids made a video of making fun, mocking George Floyd's death.
No.
People have suggested that supporting our police is somehow an affront to the people of color. Small groups on each side of the virus debate have acted vilely toward those with different opinions. To be clear, I think most Mequon residents abhor this hateful behavior. It's not what we're about. So the only thing he was right on.
Yeah.
I don't like when people use the word abhor. I abhor that. But other than that,
Right.
I mean, he was...
You abhor a poor.
That's a reasonable, well thought out, thoughtful... I mean, no one... But, just like I saw a thing on Facebook the other day, someone said, I like strawberries. So that means you hate blueberries and raspberries.
Right. Right.
You disgust me.
Dump it on raspberries for.
Yeah, what the hell? You left out my favorite fruit. But that incident,
Yeah.
if you want to call it incident,
No.
how'd you like to live across from that nuthead?
It's a mess right now. I think the big sign we need is just calm the F down. Mm-hmm. Everyone, just bring it down a level. That's all you got to do.
You know what strikes me today particularly?
Friday?
This being
Yeah.
9/11.
Right.
Remember how we all felt after the incident
Yeah.
on 9/11.
Right.
And America was one.
Right.
We were united. Nobody was mad at each other. We came together. And look where we are now.
Yeah.
We got to get back to that somehow.
Well, and the thing is, too, people have managed to politicize the virus. I don't know how you do that, but you can...
Right. You didn't
virus
handle
is-
it
the
right.
virus
No,
is
you
just-
didn't handle it right.
Yeah.
You should have
virus
seen
is
it coming.
thrilled.
No, you should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
The virus feels very important right now.
But
Look,
it's killed more
everyone's
people
arguing over
than
me.
9/11 by a long shot. 2,000, 2,500 people were killed in 9/11. Now, you can argue with the stats that say people were ill with other things and that,
Right.
but it remains that this is not only a national but a global emergency kind of status we're living in.
That's
here.
the pandemic term, right?
Right, the P word.
Right.
So you're right. On 9/11, which is ironically your friend and mine, Annette Murtos' birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, she was born on September 11th.
Does she listen to this show?
Of course. Who doesn't?
Happy birthday, Annette.
That's how she's spending her birthday.
What better way to celebrate? Jam on!
I'm so sorry.
She's just happy Jack's out of the office.
That's right.
She's got an hour.
We'll make
Talk
it the
about
best-
mainlining. She's mainlining vodka right now.
the best possible show ever today.
Yes.
The weekend.
But you're absolutely right, TFS. Of all days, and that's what's in the paper yesterday, in frickin' Mequon,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. People seems like they're out of control.
Everyone's planting their flags and defending them. I mean, they're just like, nope, this is mine.
But
And
they're all different flags.
I know they're all different flags, and they're all just like, I'm going to die on this hill. This
Right.
is, and
Right.
it's very strange.
Right.
I'd like to think we're just kind of caught in a little grip of whatever, and this is going to change.
Do you think the pandemic has anything to do with it? Has it? isolated us so much that now we're just kind of getting out of control? Is it playing
part
a
of
role?
it. It's definitely part of it. I think another chunk would be that people don't. This is what I see here. People don't know how to process this. They don't. It is because it's really horrible. It really is. I mean, however you slice it, it sucks.
This being the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just, whether you like it, you don't like it, you believe in it, you don't believe it's a Democrat plot, it's a Republican plot, whatever it is,
Right.
They don't know how to process this. And so they just kind of stuff it down. But unfortunately, it manifests in other ways, like coming and calling librarians rapists for making you wear a piece of cloth on your face.
Yeah,
that's how it manifests itself. And it's weird. It's just,
of all the terms someone could have used.
Yeah. That seems like an unlikely choice.
There's so many terms you could use.
Right.
I was surprised they jumped to that one.
right.
Especially for you.
Right. Absolutely. Yes, I would have said something.
I got a whole freaking library full of terms here,
would
buddy.
have,
And you picked rapist?
Yeah.
I would have dug out a term from the Middle Ages. You know me.
We have words here.
Yeah.
Forsooth.
I abhorred that. I abhor that term.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's definitely weird.
Freaking crazy.
It
It's
is
not weird.
Calm down, everybody.
No, yeah, exactly. What's the deal? What are you
'Cause
going to
really,
gain? What are you going to
things-
gain by that?
As much as it does suck, by and large, the bulk of us are being asked to mostly just kind of stay on your sofa and watch television a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh darn!
Yeah, I know.
Twist my arm, why don't
Thus,
you?
the bulk of us are becoming bulkier.
That's very true. That's very true. I am eating my feelings during the pandemic, and they're delicious.
So that's my job now, to sit and watch TV all day?
Absolutely.
I think I was born for this job.
I took a career preference test, and it came out just like this. My guidance counselor said, "Look what we got for you."
Are you supposed to be a fire watcher?
I'm a binge watcher.
So good stuff. So what's going on in your life? You were hustling around this week, boy. You were tough to nail down. I'm like, hey, where's Henke?
Hey.
Hey.
No, is that a Jesus joke?
Never.
It's a rapist joke.
Tough nail down.
Not in this climate.
Yeah, it's busy. That's good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good to be busy. I think that takes your mind off of things when you.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading this excellent book that I would recommend to anybody. It's ironically Leadership in Turbulent Times, and it was written by Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Oh, sure.
She does a great job. Didn't she get nailed for plagiarizing something?
No, she's a presidential biographer, though. She's a big
she's won a Pulitzer Prize, but she's also been on a lot of Ken Burns' things.
Yeah.
Talked to her. But it's a fascinating book because she took 4 presidents, Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, and Lyndon Johnson, which I wouldn't have put in there.
Well, that's an interesting combination.
Yes. But what's for many reasons it's really good. But one of them is she'll start with Lincoln, Teddy, FDR, then Lyndon, and took them only to a
I
certain
like that
part.
you're on first name basis with these guys.
Yeah.
Just
You know who I am?
They call him Jack.
Yeah. It's just here's Jack.
Hey, Jack.
That's what they say.
Jack.
They play that when I get to the White House.
Wow.
Hey, Jack. Teddy.
But it's great because she'll take them like from age when they were born to age 20, and then repeat. And keep
sure.
going through the life. So it's not one story all the way through. But it's fascinating not only how different they were and how differently they were all brought up, but the adversity they had to face. Everything's But and Teddy, he just about went nuts when his mother and his wife died on the same day in his house.
Oof.
And
It's a bad day.
yeah, that's a bad day. And he said his
Or a good day.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. Depends how you feel.
That was wrong, wasn't it?
I think that was Bulldog's conscience.
Since we are on a first name basis.
I'm sorry, Lord.
Nailed it again. But for Teddy, he said, the light has gone out of my life. But the thing for him, he said he would go mad if he couldn't work. And he worked feverishly through it. And if something's bothering you, like I was not feeling well the other day, and I was alone in the rain, and the thing, and you start thinking weird things. I can imagine Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Well, show's over, guys. We gotta
Jackie. But people need to do stuff. They need to be active. They can't sit. And except for this guy.
This guy.
We walked in with a shamrock shake.
I love it. Shamrock shake. Oh my.
But stuff that's going on in my world.
Yeah.
Just when we thought everything was okay in Newburgh,
Yes.
You got to keep checking in because you never know.
It seemed too quiet, so I turned my sights onto Kewaskum. Nothing's going on there either, unfortunately. So, yeah.
How are the Kewaskians?
No, they're Kiwa scumbags.
I'm going to need a pronunciation guide for that last term. So,
But our friends in Newburgh, it's just nothing overt, but just starting to feel the claws of the old
the old guard.
Yesterday on their Facebook page.
Yes.
The Village of Newburgh's Board of Trustees meeting, previously scheduled for 7 p.m. this evening, has been canceled. The next board meeting will be... It doesn't say why. It just goes on to...
It's over.
It's over.
You can guess why.
Todd brought a keg.
Fill in the blank.
Kegger. Newburgh.
I thought this was an NA meeting. I guess not. All right.
No wonder it was canceled.
Good old Newburgh. Newburgh will be Newburgh, no matter how you slice it. Yes. So, excellent. We should probably take a commercial break so I can sell stuff for my streaming affiliates. And when we come back, we're going to have, dignified guests. Who? Stay tuned and find out.
Only Joe and Terry are coming as far as I know.
Oh, okay, very good. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Jack Henke Show in the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library.
We're
in
feeling
Cedarburg,
as one.
Wisconsin, and we're all together on this.
We are.
All right, unified. There we go. Back on the Jack Henke Show, Elton John taking us to the next section of the show. Thought that would work out well for you.
I love Elton John.
He's pretty good.
Except for that song.
I will color code that song so I don't play it during the Jack Henke Show.
How do you manage to pick out the worst song of everyone's career and play it on my show? What the hell?
I think last time I was here, you played Elton John in that same spot.
I'm sure it's not intentional. Go ahead, Jack, take it. The show is yours.
It wasn't that terrible song.
It's your name on the show, Jack. For a reason.
Well,
Seeing a pattern.
I'd like to welcome Joe Fazio, co-founder and CEO of Commerce State Bank, to the pit. Welcome.
Smattering of applause.
Yeah.
Smattering.
Welcome to the bottom of the well.
Joe is not only the CEO, but he is involved in the marketing for Commerce State Bank. And we just went through a process with Terry Sweet, who is also here, making jokes off color. And it'd be interesting to go through that and play some of that. So that's why Joe is here today. Joe, why don't you talk about what brought this all up? How did this start? Or do you want me to do that and lead it to you? How do you want to do this?
How would you like to do it? I mean,
Well, I think
you seem pretty excited about it.
I am excited. Those are the best commercials I've ever seen.
Best commercials I've ever been on.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's a lot to overcome, but we do. There was a feeling that it was time for a refresh of the brand. And we were talking in meetings, and we thought one of the best ways to do that was to, of course, go and toy with one of the most successful things that the bank has ever done marketing-wise, right?
Yes.
I mean, when we first did that jingle, well, that was 2000. You were
2005.
And-
Just when we opened.
Yeah, and I think Terry still remembers. He said you were in a strip mall last
Yes.
night. Yeah. So we were on Shepherd's Drive in West Bend, and we did it, and Terry Sweet was involved in that as well. And that really helped legitimize you from the beginning, sounding like a real entity when you when you were an unknown.
I would agree. I think those things, the marketing things we did, and primarily the jingle, made us seem bigger than we really were. We were a startup business, right?
Yep.
So that legitimized us.
And you did the right thing by consistently using that for a long period of time. It takes a while with any marketing initiative. The brand tires of whatever they're doing long before the target audience does, because they're surrounded by it day in and day out. But we did the first jingle, and Bulldog, why don't you play that first one, please?
All right, here we go.
We'll earn your trust like a partner. We'll be the bank you depend on. Commerce State Bank, earning relationships. Your world moves fast. We'll get you there faster. Commerce State Bank, earning relationships.
Terry, you want to talk about that first one we had the line earning relationships,
Yeah.
and then you and I worked on a few things, but
Yeah.
you created that.
Yeah. Well, it's good when somebody gives me a good line to work with, because that's not always the case. And the line that you gave me was earning relationships, which I thought that was had a lot of depth to it and a lot of meaning behind it. So I was able to really get into the meat of the idea and write that song. We'll earn your trust like a partner and stuff like that. Sometimes I think about myself because I'm in business, and I think about what would I like them to say to me? What could they say to me to make me interested in going to do business with them?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I wrote that song. The Commerce State Bank was, as Joe said, a startup business. So it's not like we had $1 zillion to work with. And so, I did a demo where it was all me. Every instrument I played on a keyboard, a computerized instrument, basically. We call them samples.
What's a demo again, Terry?
A rough demo is just a rough idea of the song. Here's what the melody is going to sound like. Here's the pace of it. Here's the general feel of it. And in the end, I think we ought to do this. So it gives us it's a starting place. And I mean, they call it a mock-up. That's the other way to look at it. So I did that. We went and presented it to Joe, and he didn't throw up. We talked about throwing up last time. That's the standard. If they don't throw up, then we did it right. And but we didn't have a lot of money to work with. And the way that I produced the final was I kept most of what I had done on the demo. I added a guitar player in Chicago, and in fact, I sent it to him. He played on it, sent it back, sent his performance back to me, which I uploaded into my session. And then we used a singer from New York who's really a fantastic singer named Joe Sarasano, and added his vocal, but I kept a lot of my vocals in there too. So it's kind of a duet in a way. It's Joe Sarasano and me singing the whole thing. And other than the guitar, I played everything. So that's the way we did it back then. So that's what you just heard.
And Joe, how many ways did we use that over the years?
Oh, I mean, we've used that for 15 years on radio, on television, for employee meetings, for client meetings, events that we've had, all kinds of things. And, I go back to, I think, some of the words Terry just used here. And I would say, one of the things I would say is music is so powerful. It really is powerful to everybody, right? But when you think about those words, earning relationships, which is a tremendous tagline for a bank, but then Terry working it, your world moves fast, will get you there faster, it will earn your respect like a partner or your trust. Those things convey in a very short period of time what we were trying to do, right? We were trying to build a business based on good customer service, based on how we would want to be treated if we were the client and the bank, and it did that, right? And what we found was as soon as we started using it, people said, that's a pretty catchy tune, And Terry's a really talented guy to be able to do all the things he just described. So it turned out to be a tremendous investment for the bank.
His headphones are on, right? Yeah, he heard you. Now we're going to need a larger size headphone.
I have it on tape now.
Yeah. Very true. And Terry said a brilliant thing the last time he was here, which was you learn the alphabet. That's the original jingle.
Yeah.
And I think that
A,
bears...
B, C, D, E, F, G. Information tied to melody.
Right.
That's a jingle.
And even the things that... I have to give credit to these things. Jeff's always poking fun at a bulldog. But religions, they use jingles all the time to make things more memorable, their messages more memorable that they're getting through.
Well, they have a good writer.
Paul Simon?
No.
But think of all the songs that you sing in church. I mean, from, especially at Christmas time, it just Silent Night, just beautiful. It makes you it just invokes a whole feeling that you wouldn't have without that music in there. So if you want someone to learn something, put it to music.
Right.
Not you, Terry. Have Terry put it to music, and not just anybody. But it takes real talent, because the other thing that Terry just talked
How about Bud Lincoln?
No.
Well, no.
Nobody. And Joe can attest to this, is that Terry said, I think if it were a business talking to me, Terry is a creative guy who understands business, which it makes it a lot easier to deal with rather than somebody who just wants to do their thing, and show off.
Right. Although I would say it is Terry's thing, and because I'll go back to the first jingle we did in the first meeting when we listened to it, and I didn't throw up. That really wasn't part of it, but I do remember asking Terry. So okay, we listened to it. I go, well, that's really good, Terry. Now, do we have other choices, or is this it? And what other versions? He said, no. And that was it. This is your choice. This is what I've created for you.
Well, it's true.
Don Corleone works the same way. There's just
No.
That breaks up a whole nother. I mean, you could do a whole series of shows on this because there are two schools of thought on presenting things to people. Because when you present things to them, there's a danger of them thinking that that's the final. That's one thing. The other thing is that you present them things, and why are you presenting multiple things? Just show them your best one. But then some people say, I want choices, so you got to come up with some choices. But I work with people who will only provide one thing and say, this is what you should go. This is it. This is the best thing. Here you go. And it's not cocky. It's just, they've kind of done all the weeding out for you.
That's exactly right.
As long as you understand the business, as long as you're not just, because there are also designers and music people who just want to show off their designs. They're not there to do business.
Agreed. I think that when you look at it, you go, I don't have the expertise to come up with another jingle or a different way to play it or a different speed, or I have absolutely no musical talent whatsoever. And so you're relying on that expert. That's no different than any other field, whether it's an attorney, an accountant,
banker,
or a contractor, or a banker, or whatever. If I were you, this is what I would do.
Right.
Exactly. This is my recommendation.
Right. Even if you present someone some choices, you say, this is the one I would go with.
Yes.
This is what you should do, because that's why they're there.
Well,
right?
And one of the simple things I say in business often is take a problem away from me, right? And by that, I mean, I got a lot of things to do, right? Getting a jingle done is one of them. Take that problem away from me. And that's what you're doing, is by making that recommendation, is saying, here's what you should do with this thing. I've taken that problem away from you and solved it for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to use that.
You can.
Okay.
So, Terry, how would you, one of the other things we talked about last time you were here is we played a jingle that you had done for someone else, and you said they wanted to sound like Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So definitely pop, maybe a little countryish pop, but country pop.
Yep.
But how would you classify that, the original Commerce State Bank jingle?
Well, it's pop, I guess.
power pop.
Well, I thought it was warm,
Yeah.
with all the strings in it. And,
Well, we just were talking about Elton John. I mean, that could almost be an Elton John
Yeah.
genre song.
Yeah.
Elton genre.
He would love that, by the way.
did you just come up with that?
Saving it for you.
This is where I take over the show for a while Jack irrigates. All right, you good? No,
When you're writing something like that, you have to really, the number one thing as a composer you have to have in your mind is, to whom is this supposed to connect? And that can be a problem, because if it's a huge spread of demographic, then what do you do? I'll take it this way. Musically speaking, if you're selling sneakers to a 17-year-old, that's a much different musical proposition than selling a Mercedes to a 75-year-old. Musically, those two wouldn't even be aware of each other for the most part.
Right.
So with something like this, you have to, they're a business bank, so you're talking to business owners, okay? And so I think you can't go anything too wild or too young.
Well, that's interesting.
You have to sound kind of serious, but you have to sound like you're with it too.
Mm-hmm. Momentum. One of the things that Joe, your bank has evolved into. Was it always your plan to have it be a business bank?
Yeah.
Or did it evolve over time into that?
No, I think first and foremost, we always felt we wanted to service small and medium-sized businesses. We started out saying we do three things: deposits, business financials, loans and deposits and so forth, and mortgages for people. But first and foremost, we've always been a business bank servicing small and medium-sized businesses.
And so you started in 2005. It's 2020, and now with so much going on in the world, what we were talking about before you got here, a lot of businesses feel confused, don't know where to turn, aren't always getting the best service because everyone's freaking out, and sometimes their bank can't provide that service. Excuse me, but forget about them. We always focus on you, and some of the things that we wanted to convey was that you wanted to be more assertive, get more momentum, because you are experienced. The experience has made you being the bank, the brand,
Yes,
a different bank than you were when you started.
Well, and I think we feel really good about what we've built, right? I mean, we started at 0 and went to 750 plus million. We have 4 locations, and we're a well-respected business bank, right? We have a good reputation, and we have clients from southeast Wisconsin to northern Wisconsin and further west, right? And when we look, our first jingle served us so well. It really it put our names in the minds of people. The song, people would say, "Oh, I heard it on the radio. Oh, I like that jingle. Oh, it sticks in my mind," and that kind of stuff. But now it was time to say, okay, well, we want to be more aggressive. We want to be more assertive. We've always told the story through our customers, which has served us well in terms of them saying, "Here's how commerce has helped me." And then once we've gone through this pandemic, we saw how many people we helped that were our clients, but quite frankly, how many people or businesses, when I say people, but they're all people, that we helped that became our clients as a result of that. And we said, well, we got to tell people that, darn it. We're pretty good at what we do, and let's communicate that. And that's when we started talking about, how do we do that? And what's the medium, what's the message? And you recommended redoing the jingle.
Right, which is like, to some people, like, don't touch that. You're killing the golden goose.
Yeah.
Right.
But what we had to, in fact, it wasn't to that effect, but in one of our meetings, the question came up is, are we going to lose earning relationships? And it's a valid question. And the answer was, no, we're not going to use it. We're going to leverage that. But really, earning relationships is more of a positioning statement. It's what you do. But what you're just talking about, you're just describing, is more of asking for the order. There's more of a call to action. So we wanted to have more of a theme that was more lively, had more momentum, more feeling. But at the same time, we can never lose earning relationships. That'll always be part of your brand.
Right.
So that what we came back with, we talked to Terry, and Terry said, he had some ideas right away. But then it took the birthday girl that we mentioned earlier. She had some key input on this, talking about, I was listening to that REO Speedwagon this weekend, and I was the lyrics got me thinking about the bank. And so, Terry, you want to talk about how you took it from there?
Well, we had talked about so many things. We really had a lot of discussions. I don't know if you even realize, Joe, how much Jack and I talked about this.
I'm sure I don't.
Yeah, because we spent, a lot of time, several conversations on the phone and texts, and what do you think about this or that? And, we talked about all the things that are changing, not only in the business world, but just in the country. I mean, you can see with the pandemic and with everything else going on, there's just a lot of changing going on. And so we were trying to figure out how to not lose what we had, but take this more aggressive stance. And then all of a sudden Annette says, she was listening to REO Speedwagon, and she was talking about roll with the changes. And as soon as I heard that, I went, that's it. That's exactly what we're saying.
Joe, you're getting one choice. That's it.
That's it.
That's right.
Are there other choices, Terry?
No.
So, and we also had some key phrasing going on, too, about one thing you've always done, Joe, for your business clients is you said, we'll bring the bank to you. You don't have to come to our office, which is, it's a complete juxtaposition. People used to hate going into the bank, to visit the powerful banker. You guys, you're the ones providing the service. You go right to them.
That's right. And, I think that's one of the values of that we bring to our clients, and the values of our bank is we started a business. We know what it's like. We know the ups and downs of it. The whole idea of this things are changing. Things are changing now because of the pandemic. Things are changing now because of the economy. Things are changing now because there's an election cycle. Things are always changing on business.
Right.
Always.
Right.
I mean, somebody, your best employee's leaving. You got a new competitor. Your product line changes. Your supplier goes out of business. You name it. There's always something going on in business that you have to deal with. That's why business is so easy. I say I'm going to write a book called Business is Hard, Business is Easy. It's really hard. It is very difficult to stay in business. And so when we looked at it, we think about ourselves, and we've embraced change whenever we've had to or had the opportunity to do it, right? When we started out, to your question earlier about what kind of bank are you going to be, we were going to be a one-location bank, use technology and go to the clients. Well, there were catalysts for change in terms of banks selling, people available, that we now have 4 locations. If we'd have stuck to our original plan to say, nope, not going to do that, despite the fact that there's an opportunity 8 miles from here to be the premier bank in that community, well, we said we were going to be a one-location bank. Well, that's not who we are. So we wanted to take that further and say, okay, well, we're rolling with the changes. We work through the change. You got to embrace it. You got to figure it out, because that's the only way you're getting to the next level in business.
Right.
That's why it made so much sense. He's exactly right. Things are always changing in business. And so for the bank to say, things are changing. You can feel it.
Yep.
Exactly. So let's roll. Let's roll with it.
Yep.
And we're going to help you do that. We get that.
Whether there's a pandemic or not, that's another reason this thing will be extendable, because like you said, there's always change.
Right.
So with that, let's go to the rough demo that Terry first played for Joe.
Of this version.
The new version.
The new.
Things are changing. You can feel it. Oh, well, bring it on. Let's roll. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank. Earning relationships. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the
So you can feel the difference between the two right away.
Absolutely. And I'll go back to when we were in Nashville recording this, and I was recording others with my iPhone while this was going on. And there's a spot in there where Terry goes, we're listening to it, and all the musicians and singers are there and so forth, and he goes, there's a lot in that beat. You feel that, and it's like, wow, that is exactly what's going on. It really moves you, motivates you to say, that feels good, I like that.
Yeah, that's a recurring rhythmic motif in that song. And it's got some syncopation to it and some rhythm, and rhythm is very important even to melody. But we kept the same melody on Commerce State Bank, so we didn't lose that. We kept the line earning relationships, although we used it in a different part of the song. But it fit in real nicely. And I think that whole REO Speedwagon kind of sound really fit. I think the target demographic has changed. The baby boomer generation that grew up on that stuff, those aren't kids anymore. But they're still rock and rollers. I find that I've got clients in their 60s and 70s, and you walk in and they got Led Zeppelin playing in their office. It's
Here at CPL Radio, we're lately banking on that, actually.
I know you are.
Banking on it, get it?
With our current format shift, of course.
Yeah.
So,
you don't have to do, Montevani anymore for that age group,
or any less.
If I'd have played this, if I'd have played,
wasn't that a really good pen manufacturer? No, that was Mont Blanc.
Oh yeah,
that's for old fart Jeff. He
sing
snuck
along
that in.
with Mitch Miller.
I was stuck in my my beeper over here. Damn! Now I lost my train of thought.
But no, you're talking about classic rock fits the demo, so it still fits the business model. It's very much so.
Very much.
And the other thing is, whenever you do a marketing initiative, it not only has to appeal to the external target, it has to appeal to the internal target. You have to sell your own people, your own brand on what you're doing. And I think if you would have told everybody before we did it, that we're changing the jingle, they'd be going, "That's nuts! What are you doing?"
Exactly. Yeah. Why? What for? It's worked well.
Right, right. Keep going. But since then, I told you about a conversation I had with one of your heads of the one of your banks locations, and I said, "What do you think of the new jingle?" He goes, "Rock and roll!" I love it. I mean, that's the kind of enthusiastic momentum, energy, and that's coming from the people who are working with the brand,
right,
to promote the brand. If they don't feel it, certainly your target customers are not going to.
Well, and I think another critical factor in all of this was Terry talked about we kept earning relationships. We kept the sound, I don't know what it is, syncopation, which is a very in word to use.
Motif, I heard that too.
Motif, yeah, right. So I think as we did this, as we embarked on it, one of the really genius things you guys did together was to keep that feel of Commerce State Bank, in that people will hear this now and they'll go, that's their their new jingle, their refreshed jingle, their updated jingle. It's not, whose jingle is that? Right? I mean, you instantly, you hear the bones, the structure from the other one right away. And that's incredibly valuable for us because we didn't want to lose that at all. We're not changing who we are. We weren't completely changing our message and our name and all that stuff.
Just taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Right?
I think as long as you keep the melody of that Commerce State Bank, right, that melody, da, 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 as long as you keep that, you can change a lot of stuff around it. But that's the thing that can't change.
Yeah.
Which you did brilliantly. Do you want to go to a spot, or do you want to go to this? What do you want to do?
Let's
okay.
Let's play the new version.
Well, here, Joe, is there anything else you want to say about the new version before we play it?
Just that we're really so happy with it. You talked about our employee response, the response we've gotten from people already that have seen it as we've used it in television commercials now. It's really neat. And to watch the thing come together, Terry, his skills, we talked earlier about, the ability to create something like this, but then to really direct or produce, whatever the right words is, direct and produce. We built a new house a couple of years ago, and when we did that, Lisa and I didn't decide, well, let's build a new house, right? We went to a general contractor, a builder, but then they're orchestrating, a plumber, an electrician, or whatever, all these people that got to go into it, right? And that's what Terry did. I mean, he also selected the singer, the guitar player, the bass player, the drum player, and brought all these people together, and it was really a very interesting, cool, neat educational experience to watch these people work together, and they want to make it so good, right? I walked away thinking, geez, if every business in the world, if their employees all had that same evaluative quality to say, wait a minute, I think I can do that better. Now, what if when I come in on this, you do that, and so forth? They just want to do it really well, and you're going to hear that in the final version.
Okay, let her rip.
Things are changing. You can feel it. Bring it on. Let's roll. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank. Earning relationships. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank. Things are changing. You can feel it. Bring it on. Let's roll. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank. Earning relationships. Commerce State Bank. Roll with the changes. Commerce State Bank.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you feel good?
Yeah.
Makes me feel good.
What do you think, Bulldog? You haven't heard that before.
Them's fighting words, just like, all right, bring it, let's roll.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
It's go time.
Well, that was one of Jack's lines, that he had given me. And you said, bring it on, that whole thing. And the whole "bring it on, let's roll." That is a call to battle, And
nice. It's a battle cry.
It's great.
yeah. And one of the things we did to make it obvious that we had updated the jingle is we switched to a female singer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the best singers anywhere. And, man, she knocked it out of the park. One of the cool things that happened, though, she and I had discussed what key to put this in days before the session. So that's the key I put it in. And then we were having breakfast that morning, and I got a call from her, or a text, and it said, I'm not sure if that key is right, And I went, all right. I went back to my room and talked to her, and she said, well, I'm sitting at the piano. I could do it here. Here's how it sounds like here. Here's what it sounds like here. And I said, let's go with that key. So we had moved it all the way up from, I think, D up to F. And so we got in the studio, and we started doing it. And I said, what would it sound like in F sharp? And so the band played it in F sharp because they don't care what key it's in. Those guys are, brilliant. And, she's now in F sharp. She's got to reach just a little harder, and it gave it a little more of that power and a little grit to her vocal. So we kept the thing in F sharp. That's an odd key to be in, really. Doesn't matter to anybody. They just played it great. She sang it great. And I think that whole day was just magical, really.
I couldn't agree more. It really, and that's a great example of how she didn't have to make that phone call. She didn't have to think about it that much or
Exactly.
whatever. And yet she did, and it made it that much better. And I know you guys said to me, hey, if you don't hear anything that's right or you don't like, let us know. And I said, uh-huh.
Well, she had said one of the things, I don't know if I told you this, but she had said to me on the phone, I know you said you wanted it gravelly and raspy. She said, but, I don't know if you really mean gravelly and raspy or if you mean bank acceptable gravelly and raspy. And I said, I think all the rules are out the window on this one. Mm-hmm. I think we want gravelly and raspy. I think we want you to rock this thing.
Because that's the bank we are.
Yeah.
That again, that's a great observation on your part to say that we're not a staid traditional bank. We're aggressive, and we want to serve our clients. We want to grow the bank, and we want to be visible, and we want to be the premier bank in Southeast Wisconsin.
Right.
That's one of those things you never get there, but you strive for it, and this helps us strive for it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask Bulldog and Doc because they hadn't heard it before. Does that sound like a bank song to you?
No, I mean, I remember in the 70s, like, you hear the Bulldog with the Valley Bank or whatever. It was always like the Carpenters.
Right, exactly.
And that was good for the time.
Right.
And the times. But this separates Commerce State Bank with the tone and the voice right away. It just does. And that's you don't want to sound like everybody else. You're not like everybody else.
Right.
It's about who you're serving. So it's about your customer. It's not just about you. But I think it says something about the customer too. They want to be with someone who's active and moving and aggressive and
Very much
assertive
so.
because that's who you want on your team.
It sounds hip and up to date.
It's
That's
right.
Yeah.
You could categorize it as soaring. It's one of those, like soaring F sharp is what when the critics talk about that. That's what they mean with the incredible voice of your of the singer. It's incredible. So, yeah, cool, good stuff. And neat to hear the creative process from. How long was it from decision to unveiling?
We talked about that. We talked about changing it like at the end of July, and then Terry and I were back with Joe within a week, and then between there and mid-August, the song was done, and then between mid-August and the end of August, the video and the TV was done.
Right,
and it's going full gas right now, and
pretty fast.
Yeah,
it's pretty fast.
It really is. It's a lot of a lot of things play into that. It's not on just us. It truly is a team thing. You need someone who's going to make that decision, and Joe is that person who's going to decide, not just by himself. He's going to. I'm sure you went around and talked to people at the bank, but then in the end, I remember that I sent Terry the email because it was great. He said, "Go, let's do it."
Yeah,
and I thought that's great. It's not like, well, we're thinking about if this happens, then no, go,
Right.
Let's do it. Music to my ears. Let's go.
Yeah.
See what you did there? music to your ears.
Yeah.
That is.
You can bank on it.
Yeah.
We do things different here in a library setting. We will take a meeting, and then we'll take a meeting about a meeting, but then we have to talk about that other meeting we might have. See?
Yeah.
So it takes a while.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of getting ready to get ready.
It's exactly what we do. Yes. Well, because we're all about analysis. We just okay, well, let's get 2 more books on that and maybe a spreadsheet, and then we'll have a meeting about the 2 spreadsheets and one. It's refreshing to hear.
Right. Well, it's refreshing because not everybody's like that. Not everyone has the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
That's what's great about working with an independent entity that doesn't have to speak to a parent corporate and get their bylaws and everything done. I mean, still has the power to make the choice, and they also use that power for their customer because they can make those decisions quickly too. So it all works together.
Well, as the guy at the monitor here, I have the power to bring this show to a screeching halt.
Nope, you can't yet. You can't yet. We haven't talked about the Java House at all.
We should talk about the Java House.
Yes, because how is the iced coffee, Sonny?
It's very good.
They provided the beverages that made us sound so good today.
Did Elizabeth make this?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you for playing along.
Your favorite word. Doc Lemonade okay with you?
Fantastic.
There it is.
I don't care if you're happy. You're never happy.
Well, I've
Joe,
got
how's the water?
Awesome. Best water I've ever had.
Great Job House iced tea. And
Thank you, Lisa.
Please know that with the Job House, not only do you get great drinks, but if you phone in ahead of time, you can have them. They'll have them ready for you to pick up at the window. And also now they have pumpkin cream cheese bars are back.
It must be autumn.
The question in my mind is, do they have a jingle?
Well, we should have you compose one live on the air. That would be awesome. We'll start at noon, and by 1 you'll have something for them. That would be awesome.
That's my typical deadline.
Is that your usual?
Yeah.
Good, very good.
Very good.
Well,
But,
we appreciate that.
Yes,
Our
very
friends
much.
at the Java House.
Yes, and very lovely people as well. It never hurts.
Anything to say about Mr. Bob's this week, or are we just going to give him a...
Cash, give them cash.
Give 'em
them
some-
cash.
float some money their way.
They're out doing their thing.
All right.
And the seasons are turning, so the winter is going to be upon them. So the
right.
stuff they'll need is be changed too. I don't know honestly if they even taken donations yet besides cash.
Probably still...
I don't know.
I think so.
But food pantries need help too, and Mel's.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Big month for them.
big month is they have until the 26th they're going to match what they usually get without events. People are coming forward and pitching things, and Mel himself will be here next week
Yes.
to pitch what they got going on. They've got stuff going on with Wayne's all the
Yeah.
time. They're rounding up at Piggly Wiggly.
Yep. I hear they're going to do a drive-up sort of version of the pig roast, which is exciting.
That is.
I think they're going to try to,
I wonder
what
if
they can.
They're going to have the waffles with the pancakes with the sausage
Oh,
in
that
them.
was good.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
those are
outstanding.
so
Yeah, that was delicious. Anything going on over at Commerce besides a wonderful new jingle? Anything coming up you want to talk about before we...
Well, banking's interesting right now because we've got we've got a pandemic going on, so we got to be careful about who's in the building and
Right.
when and why and all that kind of stuff. But what's going on at Commerce right now is an encouraging note for people. I just recorded a presentation for all of our employees, and we saw a slacking in loan demand in the first half of the year. We saw the economy slow and so forth. We're starting to see things pick up. Business is getting better. There's some optimism out there. So we're very optimistic about where we're headed, and we're looking forward to crushing it with our new jingle.
It's a good time to start a new jingle, too, because just as things are coming out of that valley and coming back up, everybody's looking now. They're starting to move, and it's a good time to grab some customers away from other banks.
Just watch where you grab
Not
them.
that you guys would necessarily say it that way, but I would.
That's the next jingle.
Yeah.
We're swiping customers left and right.
Poaching. It's the poaching jingle.
We're going to hold on that one for a little while.
Self-driving cars will hack into them and turn your vehicle over into our parking lot.
What
Whatever
about
it
you?
takes.
Anything else? TFS, you got anything you want to preach about?
No, I got some new songs coming up.
Excellent.
You're going to see. I'll be out here with them.
Sounds like we'll have to have him on again.
Yes.
One more time for TFS.
Yes, our magical musical maestro.
There it is.
Our music aficionado.
You got through all that pretty well. Yeah. So at the end of the show, no less.
Oh, you know
I'm
words.
impressed.
I know motif now.
Oh, yeah.
That I don't know what
And
your motif for
syncopation.
saying that was.
Sounds like it's time for me to hit the big button, folks.
The big red button.
Hey!
Thanks for tuning in to
Don't
the
pinch
Jack-
it. You can hit it, but don't pinch
All
it.
right. Thanks for tuning in to the
That's
Jack
what she
Henke
said.
Show. Live. before now at the Cedarburg Public Library from the community room. Make sure you tune in next week, noon Central Time on CPL Radio. We're kicking it back to some